Welcome. Today we are going to look at database query. Now, basically, every question paper, you will find 3 queries. 2 will be created for you, then you modify, and then the other one, you have to create it yourself. And every question paper as well, the queries will always be in this form. The 3 queries, you get a query involving aggregate function. You get a question involving query with criteria, and then you sort, and then calculated field as well. So basically, queries involve this type: 1 with the aggregate function, 2 with the criteria, and then you sort, and then the 3 also criteria, then you do some calculations. Now, let's start with the aggregate functions queries. So I have with me here Northwest question paper. Yes, 5.3 for Northwest, that we should open that Northwest 2023 question paper 5 employee. Now, it says the query 5_3 is based on the TBL table. Open the query in design view and change the query to display as shown below. So the query has the department, and then it says last of age. Now, let's open the data and see what is happening. 5_3, if we double click, we see department and age. But then on the screenshot, we find department, which is fine, but it says last of age. That means they did some calculations by using a function called last. So the field is just age, then you see of. That means they perform a calculation called last on the age. Right. So we have to do that in our datasheet design view. We go to design view. And in order to do that, you must activate the totals from the query design. You click on totals, then you are going to see the total row given to you. Now the department, there's no function attached to the department. It's only attached to age, which says last of. So we change the group by under the age field to the function called last. Watch out for this. There's sum, there's AVG of, there's min, there's max, there's count, there's standard deviation, and expression. So here they chose last. There we go. So I have my department, and then here it says last of age. Right. Now let's look at another query from the same question paper. It says create a query called QRY 5_4 based on the TBL data. Display the full name, the department, the hire date, and exit date. Include only those individuals who were hired from the year 1992 to the year 2000. Sort the record by full name. Right. So we are going to create a new query. So we go to create query design. And then where it says add tables, you go to table, double click on the table that needs to be added. Now it says we must add the full name. We double click on it, it will be displayed here. We have to also add department, hire date, and then the exit date. So we double click department, hire date, and then exit date. Right. After this, then we go and check the criteria. Include only those who were hired from the year 1992 to 2000. Now, they gave you 1992 to 2000. You cannot just write the criteria there. So you must run it and see whatever that you have. This is the hire date. Now the hire date there is having a date, but not the year only. So the criteria for the hire date must be a full date. And the question said those who were born from, who were hired from 1992 to 2000. So we type between. We use the keyword between. The first date is 1992. So the first date for 1992 is 01/01/1992. 1st of January 1992. Space N. So when you use between, it goes with N. That is from 1992, first date up to the last date. 31st December, the year 2000. That is where the year 2000 is ending. So you don't need to put the hashtag. When you click somewhere, the hashtags will be there automatically. Remember to type the date in the basic format, the day / the month / the year. Right. And then we go to the next question. It says sort the record by full name field. So we have to sort the record by full name in ascending order, unless stated otherwise. Now let's run it and see. There we go. Right. Now, in case you were given a question by saying you must calculate the number of days between the hire date and the exit date. I think there was a question like that. Let's check. Now here is it. That's verified. Insert a calculated field called days to display the number of days which have passed between the hire date and then the exit date. So that's the calculation part. Query 5_5. Now, whenever you are calculating anything in database query, you go to the spaces provided, the empty spaces. You right click, you will see build. Or when you go there, you will see builder. So I prefer you right click and then you see build. Now we are going to do some calculations here. They said the number of days between the hire date and then the exit date. So the bigger date will be the exit date. You double click on it. Or you can do it by starting to type exit date. Then you see that this one means the field, this is the function. So you double click, minus hire date. When you start typing, it will give you. There we go. Now you run it, it gives you the days. But then it says EXPR1. So you go back to design view and then you change the EXPR1 to days. There we go. Right. So this is the calculated field involving date and then queries as well. Now, if you were to calculate, let's say we want to do another calculation. This is the days, but then we want to do another calculation which involves the age. Remember, we want to see the number of years since the person was hired. In this situation, we have to use certain functions before. Or you can even say we open bracket and then you use the exit date minus the hire date, or divided by 365.25. It will give you the answer as well. So this is the age for the years. Now we want the year to be formatted. If you want to be formatted in maybe 2 decimal places, you click there or you right click, you see properties. Then you'll find format, you put fix. then decimal place, maybe 2. There we go. Right. Now, there is also another type of calculations that we can do in database. Let's say we are going to create a query whereby we use if statement based on the TBL data. So I'm going to create query design, TBL data. And then I need the full name. I need gender. And let's say the bonus or the annual salary, and then the bonus. Now let me run it. So let's say we are going to use an if statement. If the person is female, the annual salary must be increased by a certain percentage. So there you right click, build. We are going to use if statement. And if statement in database is if. When you start typing I, you see the function there. So if the gender, you start typing gender. If the gender is equals to female, then comma, the annual salary you make sure you type it properly. Otherwise, you can also pick it from here. You can pick them from here. You go to the table. Here's the table. You go to the database, the table data, you see all of them there. So you find if the gender, you double click on gender, is equals to female, then comma. The true part will be, we are increasing the annual salary by less than 10%. Then it will be the annual salary, double click, times 110 over 100. When you're increasing by 10%, remember in spreadsheet, we say we will add it to 100%. Otherwise, the percentage should be the same. Then click OK. There we go. So we get our answers for each. Remember to change it. So this is how we use the if statement. If statement, if you can get it from the function, then you go to the table, the one that you are comparing with. Right. This is an if statement. Using if statement in database queries as well as table. You can do the same on table. Let's say this table, we were to do calculation on the table. Calculated field. Let's say I want a new field called code. And whenever you are doing calculation in the table, you change from short text to calculated. Then it gives you the expression builder. Then you can do your calculation there. And we can also use the text function, any function that you find them in spreadsheet, like left function. You want the left of the name. How many letters, comma 3. And concatenate, we are joining. And the right of the country, comma 2. And join again. Let's say we are joining with EEID, double click on it. So it gives us the code for each. Right. You can calculate in spreadsheet, in database table. You can calculate in the queries as well. Now, let's check the last part of the questions. That's the query with the, another criteria. So I'm going to take another question paper, which is Free State 2022. 3 members, Free State 2022. Create a query called QRY3_1 based on the membership table. Display only the name, the age, the gender, the amount raised, and targeted. Insert a calculated field called expected to find the difference of the targeted amount and the amount raised. So we are going to create a new query on 3 membership. Free State question 2022. Right, so we go to create query design. And then the members. And the question says we must display the following. Name, age, gender, amount raised, and targeted. Name, age, gender, and amount raised. So we need name, age, gender, amount raised, and targeted. Then insert a calculated field called expected to find the difference. Like I said, you go to the empty space, you right click, build. Now we are finding a difference. You must go to the table. And then the table where you find those values, membership. So the difference between amount raised and targeted. So to be the amount raised minus the targeted amount. You click OK. Then you need to go to you run it in datasheet view, then you see. If it's giving negative, that means you made some mistakes. You might change them, their position. So it should be the targeted minus the amount raised. Yeah, we are getting positive values. Now, you can go back to the build and then you change the ESPR as well. So it says expected. There we go. Right, so this is how we do calculations in queries. Now, let's check another question. So under Free State 2022. Modify the query QRY3_2 and then display only the field name, age, membership, co-payment, and membership years and chronic. So we start the first one, 3_2. Right? And then we must display only the co-payment, membership years, chronic, the name, age, membership status, co-payment, chronic, and then the years. So those are the ones that we display. Display only the records where members show that they use chronic medicine or where the membership years are only 1 year and only membership status for Ruby or Emerald. So you have to start approaching them step by step. Now, the first one here says, those who use chronic medicine. How are we going to see that? You must run it first and see. So chronic medicine, that means those that's indicated yes, those that are tick yes. So you go under chronic, the criteria, you say yes. So they have indicated. Right. Now, the question says again, all. This all means we must go to the next one, where the membership years are only 1 year and only membership status Ruby and Emerald. So membership years, all means we must go to the next row, not on the same row. On the same row, meaning that it's ends. All the membership year should be 1 year, and then the membership should be Ruby or Emerald, not this. So you go to membership status. Let's check. Yeah, it's membership status. Membership status should be Ruby, that is R star, or Emerald, E star. And then we put 1 also here because the question says either is yes or 1 with Ruby or 1 with Emerald. There we go. So because of the or, it brings this one also the very, because the membership says, yes, this person chose it. That's why you are seeing that as well. Don't forget, if you ignore them on the same row, you'll get it wrong. And then you must be using the wildcard as well more often. Now we move to the next question. I will take also 2023 for GDE. 2023. Then we check the queries over there. Right. That one is 5 fixtures. Five fixtures. We will start with question number 5.3. Query 5_3. Display the matches that will be played in Marseille and Paris, or any match that are part of Pool D. Right, so 5_3. Let's check the question again. We must create, yes, we have to create it and display match, city, and pool. So we are going to go to create, query design. So we need a match, city, and pool. Now, this question says we must display city, that's Paris, and then Marseille, and then the pool should be D, or the pool should be D. So here, the criteria should be Marseille, which is M star, or P star, Paris. There we go. And then or any matches that are part of Pool D. So either this, no, there's a Marseille and this, or any matches that are part of Pool D. So here we can just use Pool D. Then the matches should be Pool D. They didn't say and. If say and, that means you are going to put it here. So because they say, oh, you go to the next one. Right. And we are having A here because this is from Perry, and this one B because it's Marcel. And we are having Turu here because it's full D. Right. The next question on queries. Let's also take a look at this one. This is the count of. So query 5_4 count of. That means we must use the aggregate function count of. We use the aggregate function. So 5_4 in design view. Remember the original one is this match between date schedule, but on the screenshot here is the date first before the match. So we have to change them. In design view, we have to change them. So here should be the date, and here should be the match. Right, then you activate the totals. Then this group by you change it to count because the question says match count of. Right, then the next question is a calculated field. So you can see that most of the queries calculated field, aggregate function, and then the one with criteria. Captains are given a reward based on the number of notch points. The notch points are calculated with the point divided by the ranking. Each captain will receive 2,000 per notch point. Insert a calculated field for the reward to calculate the amount that each point will receive. So 2,000 per notch point. So we have to calculate the notch point by dividing the point by ranking, and then we multiply by 2,000. That is query 5_5. You open it in design view. So you right click, build. Now we have to divide the point by the ranking. So point divided by ranking. And then whatever that we get, we multiply by 2,000. Don't forget to put the brackets. So this will be the notch point, then times 2,000. You run it, it gives you the ESPR. Don't forget to right click again, build, change the ESPR to the name. Okay, so sometimes if the question asks you to change to decimal point, you right click again, properties. Go to the format, change it to fixed. Then, if it doesn't give the decimal place, run it first, it will come back. In most cases, the decimal place will be there. 1 or 2, based on what the question wants you to set it to. Right. So basically, this is all about queries. Now, you can also get a query whereby they want you to compare the field. Let's say we are comparing whereby the ranking is more than, or the points are more than the ranking. Let's say the ranking is less than the point. So you go there, then you say less than, you start typing the name of the point. So here points, you double click on it. So it's going to display those whereby the ranking is less than the point. There's a question like that also. When you're comparing two fields, you put a criteria whether less than or greater than, then you start typing the name of the field, and then you get the answer right. Good. This brings to an end of our lesson regarding queries. Now, next episode will be form and then report with calculations as well. Thank you.